RFB Legal. The Litigation Series.
Recovery of criminal proceeds is not a new concept. It has existed in the UK for quite some time. Civil recovery orders, for example, are commonly used to recover proceeds of crime. And in general, confiscation of criminal property has become much easier than it used to be, mainly because it was no longer necessary to secure a conviction prior to making an application in court. So why do we need unexplained wealth orders? Well, eventually it became clear that all existing tools would not be helpful when the person in question is a part of a foreign regime. And unfortunately, the UK has become a very popular and rather safe place for certain type of individuals, corrupt individuals. And so something needed to be done to tackle the problem of unexplained wealth with a foreign element. So the Criminal Finance Act introduced the Unexplained Wealth Orders. This was incorporated in the Proceeds of Crime and came into force in January 2018. It is also important to note that the provisions have effect retrospectively. So in a nutshell, it is an order that requires the respondent to set their interest and the extent of such interest in the asset in question. It also requires to explain how they obtained this asset, where the legitimate income does not explain the holding of it. So basically it's cases where a person on the face of it cannot afford acquiring or holding of the asset. And if it is proved that such asset is a proceeds of crime, the order will extend further and grant powers to recover such asset. An application can be made in High Court by a number of authorities. As of today, though, the only applicant has been National Crime Agency. In order for the court to grant an application, the following requirements need to be met. So the first one is that there is a reasonable cause to believe the respondent holds the asset in question. Also, the value of the asset should be greater than £50,000. Also, that there are reasonable grounds to suspect that the respondent's legitimate income is insufficient to acquire the asset in question. And the final requirement is that the respondent is either a politically exposed person, or there are reasonable grounds for suspecting that the respondent is or has been involved in serious crime, or a person connected with the respondent is or has been involved in serious crime. Now, it's really important to see how the court interprets the requirements, simply because there have only been a few of such applications and this concept simply hasn't been tested enough that many times. For example, in the case of Hussein, Justice Lang stated that it's ultimately for the court not the authority to determine that there is a reasonable cause to believe that the respondent holds the asset in question. However, it is up to the relevant authority to satisfy the court that the statutory conditions have been met. And in the same judgment, it was stated that the use of offshore corporate structure on its own cannot be ground for believing that they have been set up or are being used for wrongful purposes. Given that the rationale behind the unexplained wealth orders is to tackle a problem with a foreign element, special attention should be paid to PEPs, to politically exposed persons. They are defined in POCA. It is an individual who has been entrusted with prominent public functions by an international organization or by a state outside of EEA and the UK. Family members, close associates, all fall within the scope. Being a PEP does not automatically imply criminal conduct, but it means that such person is more susceptible to being involved in criminal activity. Now, when the orders were just introduced, the Home Office estimated up to 20 successful applications a year. It's been nearly 4 years and we're still in single digits, and not all of them have been successful. Obtaining the order and building a case around it has actually proved to be a rather challenging task. They also have received criticism, mostly coming from the fact that the presumption of innocence appears to be disregarded, given that no conviction is required to secure such order. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds for unexplained wealth orders and how far they're going to reach and indeed tackle the existing problem of unexplained wealth.